rolling on my phone. Mind gets caught lying to myself. I'm greener grass. Dream another life, one that's not so hard. I can get lost down that dangerous road. I am not them. I do not know what they're really going through. There's a lot that I assume. Freedom I get from the work that I do. Thoughts that I choose, feelings I soothe, finding a mingle of ease, loving what is. Wouldn't it be grand if I settled in to love my life? What I have made foundations strong, built with bricks instead of straw. Gratitude, wiser have learned to nourish their own. Life is not in the escape. Learning to embrace, happy or sad, all feelings will come. Doesn't matter what we have. Grounding is key. Finding a mingle of peace. Loving what is. Finally, I've learned not to fool myself. Loving what is. Finally, I've learned not to fool myself. Loving what is.
Come on, soft, turn the key and cooler on. Push the pause for relief. Free pass, you don't even have to ask to be the cat in the sun. Someday I will see the whole deal through today. got better things to do. Okay, to leave a little bit undone and be the cat in the sun. Be the cat in the sun. Set aside every empty spreadsheet line and loosen up on the grind. Simmer down, settle back and mess around. Be the cat in the sun. Someday I will see the whole deal through. Today I've got better things to do. Okay, to leave a little bit undone. Be the cat in the sun. Be the cat in the sun. Stretch out, lean back, be the cat.
Soft light falls on quiet sand. You almost leaned in. Shadows move, skin to skin. Something unspoken. Will you let me in? You and I will always have that one night. Come morning light, we'll always always have that sunrise.
Open air, side by side we sway there in all the colors. Summer love, lonesome dove, folded on the lawn chair in all the colors. Summer love, remember when we were getting nowhere fast, when the garden won't stop giving back honeysuckle, fresh cut grass. I could really use some stuff like that. Talk to me and tell me all that you've seen, all the colors. Summer love, memories washed in every shade of green in all the colors. Summer love, remember the lazy river day canoe, bathing in the turquoise blue, losing track of time with you. Another peach pie sunset view, sleeping in the afternoon. No place to be and nothing to prove. That's sure something I could use. A cure for the air-conditioned blues. Could use some too. A little bit of summer
Trusting your instincts, realize that knowing looks different to each. When living authentic, do more exploring, deeper than knowing just what is essential for life that is thriving. Go deep, mute out the chatter, feel it, burn off the fire, let go until there's peace to your core. Live a life you adore. away from the program, removing performance, true self, all that's standing. Live free from worry, live by just being, power and finding your wholeness in now. Goldie, mute out the chatter, feel it, burn off the fire, let go until there's peace to your core. Live a life you adore. Live a life you adore. Goldie, mute out the chatter, feel it, burn off the fire, let go until there's peace to your core. Live a life you adore.
Listen for me in a violin. Listen for me when the knife is turning. Listen for me when the world is burning. Babe, would you listen for me? Listen for me in a crowded street. Listen for me in a winning streak. Listen for me when you're at your peak. Babe, would you listen for me? Listen for me in a child's power. Listen for me in a golden hour. Listen for me when you're on your own. Listen for me when you're far from home. Listen for me when you can't go on. Babe, would you listen for me?